Εκατοντάδες δασικές πυρκαγιές ξέσπασαν φέτος το καλοκαίρι στην Ελλάδα, πολλές από τις οποίες εν μέσω πρωτοφανούς καύσωνα στα τέλη Ιουλίου. Οι μεγαλύτερες πυρκαγιές ήταν στην Αττική, στην Ολυμπία, στη Μεσσηνία και η πιο καταστροφική στη Βόρεια Εύβοια. Ο απολογισμός των πυρκαγιών, των καμένων εκτάσεων αλλά και των θυμάτων προκαλεί σοκ. Περίπου 125.000 εκτάρια δάσους και καλλιεργήσιμης γης έχουν καεί, με πάνω από 50.000 εκτάρια να έχουν καεί μόνο στη Βόρεια Εύβοια. Τώρα, The Hellenic Initiative Καναδά συγκεντρώνει χρήματα για τους πληγέντες από τις καταστροφικές πυρκαγιές. Μαζί μας είναι ο πρώην πρέσβης του Καναδά στην Ελλάδα και επίτιμος διευθυντής του Hellenic Initiative Canada, Robert Peck. Mr. Peck, welcome to the show.
So the Hellenic Initiative was founded in the United States during the depths of the economic crisis. And in the following years, chapters, if you will, were formed in Australia and Canada. The Hellenic Initiative has a number of goals, one being philanthropy, but they're also very, very much involved in developing capacity and supporting entrepreneurship in Greece. But particularly during the crisis, obviously, there were very, very large needs in addressing those who were most affected by the crisis. So the Hellenic Initiative Canada was formed with that being an important objective in mind. And it is a fully registered charity with the Canadian Revenue Agency. I think most donors who give want to know that the organization concerned is transparent, that funds will go to the organization or group for which they're intended. And the THI Canada ethos is that we support organizations that are like-minded, that believe in transparency and openness, and obviously that the funds are destined for those most in need.
So, other than yourself, who are some of the key members of the organization?
Well, there's a long list of members, some in Toronto, obviously, but others both in Canada and abroad. Our two co-presidents are John Sotos, a well-known lawyer in Toronto, and Alexander Georgiadis, who is the head of Krinos Foods in Canada. But we have a number of other members in Toronto, but across Canada. I'm an honorary director. And because of my past life as a Canadian ambassador. So we work as volunteers. Obviously, this is a volunteer organization. And our goal is really to give back. Many of us have been privileged to have successful careers. Some of us have left our earlier careers. I retired from diplomacy in 2017 after 35 years. And in my case, I'm married to a Greek, but I'm a Philhellene, and I have been very moved by recent events in Greece, particularly with the widespread devastation caused by wildfires.
So, what is the Hellenic Initiative doing to help the people who have been impacted by the wildfires?
Well, needless to say, these past few weeks, we have all witnessed unprecedented damage in Greece. When you look at the extent of the fires, particularly in the northern half of Evia. Today, I understand that while wildfires are waning in places like Vilia, 60 kilometers from Athens, with winds, with the unprecedented heat and global warming, Greek authorities continue to face many challenges on many fronts. Clearly, many people, average Greeks, have been devastated by these fires. They've lost their homes, they've lost their properties. And so in the initial phase, of course, Greek authorities have been assessing or starting to assess the extent of the damage, and that will clearly take some time. We will be working with a number of local organizations on the ground who are close to the actual needs of people affected. We want to take the time to do the proper assessments and due diligence to be certain that the funds raised will really have high impact and address those essential needs of fire victims.
So what are some of the organizations you'll be working with, and where is this money going?
Yeah. So we have worked with a number of organizations in the past. I'll just give you a broad brush of the types of organizations we support. Clearly, as I said, once the campaign is completed, and it is ongoing because those needs related to fires are very, very apparent, we will then work with some of these partner organizations and others as we see needs emerge. But just as an example, we have supported an organization called Prolepsis Diatrophy, which in the past has funded 1 meal a day for school children across Greece. We also have funded an organization called Hope Genesis, which is working to reverse the decline in birth rates in Greece by making it easier for families to evolve and grow, providing basic medical care on remote islands. And we've worked very closely with Doctors of the World, Médecins du Monde, who have provided relief to the most vulnerable on the ground over the past number of years, dramatically during COVID, obviously, but in recent months, helping vulnerable seniors and people that are socially disadvantaged who need medical support and psychological support. So these are the types of organizations we've worked in the past. It doesn't mean that we will not work with others, again, who share our values and who are very close to needs on the ground. I should also mention and salute, if I might, that last Sunday, the Hellenic community of Montreal organized a special fundraising day, and THI Canada will be one of the beneficiaries from some of the funds raised. And very proud of the fact that a Greek Canadian who is co-founder of an American company called Ideoli has worked with us to donate 10,000 K95 masks to Greece, which are going to be shipped very, very soon from New York. Obviously, with smoke and the dangers related to smoke inhalation, these masks will be very, very useful. And also, unfortunately, the COVID situation continues. So this is a very generous donation by a proud Greek Canadian businessman who works in the United States. And we have helped facilitate a contact with Doctors of the World who will be able to put these masks to very good use.
Unfortunately, we've seen the last decade a long list of catastrophic events, from the economic financial crisis to the COVID pandemic and now this. Do you think that this initiative will be able to help these people, or is this an ongoing process?
Well, I had a window seat during the depth of the economic crisis in Greece during my tenure as Canada's ambassador from 2011 to 2015. So I saw firsthand the impact of that economic crisis on average Greeks, and it was a very moving experience. And my wife and I were able to see firsthand some of those impacts by working with local charities and traveling throughout the country. On the backs of that economic crisis, there's COVID and then wildfires. Greece continues to face these kinds of challenges. It almost seems too much for any one country to bear. But again, we have seen the resilience of the Greek people. I think governments, not only in Greece, but around the world, are grappling with the impacts of climate change. We will all have to adapt to the impact of global warming on our daily lives. And as we've seen in Canada, in British Columbia, wildfires and destruction that they bring is shared by Canadians as well. So I think we can all in Canada empathize with our fellow citizens in Greece who are confronting challenges that are made worse by the climate in August, where there's winds that whip up those fires, and we will all have to be able to confront them and be better prepared in the future. But I think we're all going to face, not only Greece, challenges like this in the years ahead.
You're absolutely right about being better prepared, and unfortunately, Greece continues to invest primarily in putting out fires instead of preventing them. And the Greek government has been critiqued because of this approach. Do you think that it is the right approach, or that the Greek government has to change in general its strategy?
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not an expert in fire management, and I'm not here to criticize governments. I think the Greek government was faced with a very difficult situation. I think that there has been an important response in terms of relief to those most affected. I think in any catastrophe, there are always lessons learned. And I expect that after the worst of these fires is over, there will be a post-mortem, and there will be an approach to trying to mitigate this devastation in the future. I think what's important in all of this as an observer is that there was a relatively low loss of life from these fires compared to the devastating impact of the fires in Mati, for example, in 2018.
Yes.
And I'm encouraged that the Prime Minister has named Stavros Benos to lead reconstruction efforts in Evia, a man who clearly played a leading role following the devastation of Kalamata in the earthquake some years ago. So clearly there's a lot happening. The Greek government has many competing challenges, but I think the time now is not to focus on what went wrong, but how we can help those most affected, which is why THI Canada modestly, because the extent of the devastation is very great, but I'm nevertheless proud that we're moving towards $40,000 in what we've raised to date. We obviously would like to do more. We're reaching out to Greek Canadians, to Greek communities across Canada, to consider making a donation. No donation is too small. We salute those who have already contributed, but I wanted to remind everyone that the campaign is still ongoing. The fires are not over, and as the assessments of the damage are well understood, it's clear that there will be a need for support, particularly for those who have lost their property, whose families have been badly affected, and THI wants to show solidarity with Greece at a very, very difficult time.
That was my next question. I was about to ask you how the Greek Canadian diaspora can help, and I think you gave us that answer. We need to mobilize around efforts such as this, and our communities play a prominent role, such as the community in Montreal, as you spoke about earlier.
Indeed, indeed. I think from everything I've understood, the best way is to donate money, because through organizations that are well placed to understand those needs, those funds can be directed appropriately. And there are many ways people can give. Obviously, I'm here to talk about the Hellenic Initiative, but I salute those who donate to charities of their choice. The Greek Red Cross, there are other ways of giving, but we believe that the Hellenic Initiative is an organization that's trying to bring people together. We don't have any partisan affiliations. We're not linked to any one organization or group. We'd like to think that we're a big tent and that we can bring together people for common cause, particularly in the face of a disaster that Greece continues to face today. And I think we're gratified as an organization that people understand that in terms of the way we operate, our governance, our transparency, that if they make a donation to THI Canada, that the funds will be well used, and that we will continue to report on the impact of those funds for everyone to see.
So, a simple but very important question: how can we donate to the organization, to the Hellenic Initiative Canada?
Well, I know I can count on Odyssey to maybe put our link up on the screen at some point. But I think if those are interested in donating to the Hellenic Initiative Canada, if you Google it, it will pop up. And the first thing you see on the front page is the wildfire relief campaign. And you can click on and you can donate online. And obviously, as a registered charity, those who give will automatically receive a tax receipt. So it's a very easy process. 1 or 2 clicks and you've made your donation.
Excellent. Is there anything else you would like to add, Mr. Peck?
No, I would simply like to thank all of those who have supported the campaign to date. We're continuing our efforts to raise funds because we know the need is great. We believe that there will continue to be new needs identified. We will work with the relevant authorities, with not-for-profit organizations on the ground to identify those needs. and we would welcome any donation. As I said earlier, no donation is too small.
Excellent. Mr. Peck, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Να είστε καλά. Αυτός ήταν ο πρώην πρέσβης του Καναδά στην Ελλάδα και επίτιμος διευθυντής του Hellenic Initiative Canada, Robert Peck. Και σε λίγο θα είμαστε και πάλι μαζί.